The original Land Rover was designed using what was left over from the Second World War, aircraft parts and the colours. That's why the original Land Rover colours are same as those RAF colours from British fighter planes, the blue and the green. 1948, this vehicle was conceived on a beach in Wales, and it had a great 70-year run until 2016, when that Defender ended up going out of service. But for 2020, the new Defender is back, and this time reimagined.
Comes to off-road, if the camera can stay steady, this absolutely handles like magic. In fact, I've done a lot of off-roading in my days, and this vehicle actually makes it very simple. I have it in 4 low right now, and I also have the vehicle raised up. This is one of the benefits of air suspension, being able to stick it up. This is a lot more aggressive than traveling to your local campsite for a weekend of fun and adventure. Just getting to where we're going is the whole adventure. Talk about value for money, and if you had an old Defender, they stopped importing them into the United States in 1996 because they didn't meet US safety standards, and the value of those vehicles is absolutely through the roof. You take a look at some of those Defenders now, and for a vehicle that has perhaps 35,000 miles on the clock, you can pay $135,000. It's less expensive if you get one with higher mileage, but the old Defenders in the United States have held their value incredibly, and there's no reason to believe that it's not going to be the case with the new Defenders. They start from $49,900, so just under $50,000. That's before delivery and handling charges, and they go up to just over $80,000. I've equipped them online. It's not hard to get a vehicle above $80,000 if you check all the boxes, get all the bells and whistles. But I will tell you that I think the value of this vehicle is going to be outstanding. I expect that second, third, fourth, and even fifth hand Defenders are going to hold great value, and they're going to be bought and sold vigorously on the gently used market.
Look at the design of the new Defender. Although modern, it's all about durability. This is a vehicle that is designed with the approach and the departure angle, along with the breakover angle, which is the middle of the vehicle, to take lots of rocks and bumps. So everything on the vehicle is protecting the shell of the vehicle itself. Beautiful front grille, reminds you of a Defender, even though we're many years outside of the original Defender. And one of the things that gives it a nice big ride height is the fact that it uses the air suspension in the vehicle, which is new for this generation of Defender.
When we talk about interior design of the new Defender, it's either a 5, 6 or 7 passenger vehicle. There is a 90 and a 110. The 110 slightly longer and a 4-door. The 90 you can get in the 2-door version. There is a jump seat between the driver and passenger seat up front, which is probably the most delightful thing about the interior for me. Also, rubber floor mats. I mean, who doesn't need rubber floor mats in a vehicle that's basically a very capable utility vehicle? There is a range of interiors and upholsteries. You can get a lot of surfaces that are washable and wipeable, as you'd expect with something that you could get muddy and dirty. There is a lot of extras you can get with a vehicle, including a fabric roof, which is almost there to a convertible version. This is the one vehicle I think makes an amazing convertible vehicle, but it's unlikely that there will be enough market uptake to actually make one as well. 120 volt output on the inside of the vehicle. Loads of places to plug in your USBs. It has USB-C, and there is also the vehicles that come with different tires on them. There's a mud tire, an off-road tire, so the availability of these vehicles is easy to option out. lots of packages that you can buy, first editions that you can get. The range and breadth of what you can get in a new Defender is pretty off the hook. Now, we make a joke a little bit about the vehicles from Land Rover and Range Rover, that they are a $70,000 sound system surrounded by a vehicle, and that is sort of the case with the Defender too. It has an excellent Meridian sound system, which is second to none. Really big, and the latest version of their infotainment screen here in the middle. 90% of the tasks in the vehicle can be done from that infotainment screen. It gives you weather, traffic, Navi, Spotify, all of those things available in the vehicle. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I have both phones. I plugged in the Apple phone that I have, and instantaneously it appeared on the screen. It's a really super fast software, and some area that Land Rover, Jaguar have been lacking is their speed of their infotainment systems. They have nailed it with this infotainment system. It has 4 HD cameras around the vehicle, which build a 3D picture of the vehicle. So parking spaces, a bird's eye view, parking spaces, off-roading, very useful. It's almost like having a virtual spotter out there. So as you navigate through rocks and tundra, you can actually find your way through rocks using those 3D cameras. It also has, apart from the cameras, radar and ultrasonic sound, so you can get it through some of the smallest gaps. Safety and convenience in this vehicle, of course, it is a Land Rover Range Rover product, which means that safety is absolutely paramount to the company. The things that are great about this vehicle is, even though it's fairly high and it can ford really deep water, it's also very stable at speeds. I'm driving down a freeway in the California desert, and this vehicle, if I change lanes at speed, it feels really well planted. It has a lot of really cool convenience packages and convenience items that are available on the vehicle, including something for those guys who like to off-road, which is an air compressor. So a lot of times you deflate the tires when you want to go off-road to make it easier to do some rock crawling, and then you need to re-inflate them when you get back out onto the highway. And of course, a built-in air compressor is super useful for that. It also has a wash system as an available convenience package, and the wash system is definitely for those kids and pets. When you get them out and muddy and nice and dirty, you can hose them off before they get in the car, as many of my family members like to be hosed off before they get back into the vehicle. What's the competition for the Defender? Of course, the Wrangler is probably the closest competitor to the Defender, but also people who are looking at buying a Defender are looking at things like the Ford Expedition, which is based on their F-150. They're also looking at Tahoes. Those are sort of the big adventure vehicles for many families, and even the G-Wagon on the high luxury end is probably a competitor to this vehicle. The question is, what do people cross shop? Probably the Wrangler and the Bronco will be cross shop mostly with the Defender. Let's talk about engines and fuel economy in these vehicles. There are 2 different engine choices in it. The P300, which is the 4-cylinder, outputting 296 horsepower and 295 pounds-feet of torque. There is also a P400, which is an inline-6, 400 horsepower and 400 pounds-feet of torque. 0 to 60 miles an hour in the P400, you could probably get under 6 seconds. Very, very responsive. One of the cool things about this vehicle, Land Rover have always made the Defender very squared, a very boxy vehicle, which is part of its appeal, and definitely something that appeals to me with this vehicle. They've actually got the coefficient of drag really low in this new version of the Defender, down to 0.38, which is substantially lower than I'd expect it to be. And the coefficient of drag is obviously important for things like fuel economy, because it tells you how much force the vehicle needs to make to cut through the air. So down to 0.38, and most of that was achieved thanks to a wind tunnel. Fuel economy, you're going to expect it somewhere in the low 20s on a freeway drive. To be honest with you, those numbers go out the window when you talk about off-roading and desert and water fording, because once you have to push that torque up, it's probably going to use a lot more gas than around 22, 21 miles a gallon.
I'm Nik Miles.